Hey there, and welcome back to the Second Lunch podcast. I'm your host, Chris Moran. With me, Kolpy. Let's just jump right into it. I had to reset a password today, and it wouldn't let me do it on my phone, so I had to fucking call Xfinity and talk to a person. And you know when
I think password security, I think getting another guy involved on the phone.
Right, good point. You know that thing where you have to spell something out to somebody on the phone, and it's like A is in apple,
Yeah.
B is in ball sack or whatever. I always try to spice it up a little bit. I'm sick of the same words, right? So I'll say A is in ass, B is in butt, just a little something, but sometimes even that's not enough. So today I tried something that I thought was much more fun. I decided I would use a word that technically starts with a letter, but doesn't sound like it does.
like gnome.
X is in xylophone.
Yeah.
P is in pterodactyl. But my favorite thing is the different reactions you get to it, because it's one of three. It's either somebody who also thinks it's amusing, like I do, very rare. Very, very
It turns
rare.
out people don't like the subterfuge.
Yeah, probably less than 1%. The majority of the people just think that I'm dumb. But my favorite thing is when somebody thinks I'm dumb is even dumber than me. And they're like, sir, pterodactyl starts with a T. It's not pterodactyl, okay? But yeah, I love spelling words on the phone to people like that.
I had my first job was being a compliance auditor. You're calling a lot of people on the phone. They don't want to talk to you because you're like an external auditor. And eventually I started training other folks, and there was one employee I trained, and she was very nice, but not always making the most wise decisions. Although this doesn't require wisdom, this just requires some common sense. She was doing that thing, and she's spelling out her name, which I'll just say ends in a Y. And she goes, Y as in Yancey? I was like, you can't choose a word that is way less common than a word that it rhymes with. You're fucking with people. Now, does anybody think that her name would have ended with an N there? No, but Yancey? Yancey.
I like that yellow hadn't crossed her mind.
It's anything. That's like, I'm sure there's some word that starts with a Y that has an I sort of sound at the beginning. And, egret or some goddamn thing where you're, that's the name. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. But ultimately, that's the only thing I could think of that would not tell somebody that it starts with a Y.
Honestly, I think having to spell to somebody over the phone, if hell exists, that's what you're doing the entire time. It's the nothing makes me want to die more in the moment than do it, which is why I do that. Like, I can't think of anything more boring. It makes me want to die. It's so annoying.
Yeah. Well, and luckily, neither of us have crazy long names or anything. And there's only, in my last name, there is F and there is N. Those are the two letters where you've got to go like Frank and, Nancy, perhaps, or, Nicaragua. You would choose your poison. But
I have to do this all the time because I have a stupid email. And I have to spell it. And then I just end up saying what it is anyway, because they're like, it's cmaranimal@gmail.com. Email me. I don't fucking care. But I'm always like, C is in cat, M is in moron. And just like going through it. And I'm just like, it should say cmaranimal. It's that simple. But yeah, it drives me fucking nuts. I hate it.
When I was in high school, there were eventually some administrator folks when I was on ASB were like, you need to have a more professional email, because my original email was just an Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference, but it was Meatwad. And they were like, you can't continue emailing with Meatwad. But in the interim, before I had set up nothing, this is character erasure. But in any case,
Wad?
It's because meatball is too lazy. It's just, you got to add a little zhuzh to it or whatever. But there was a period where I would try to spell it to people on the phone in those circumstances and not make it clear that it was Meatwad. So it'd be like MEA TWAD.
Meatwad?
Yeah, you gotta give them a different cadence. But
Yeah, I got in trouble for when I was in journalism in high school for not having a professional enough voicemail. Because my voicemail for the longest time in high school was, "Hey, it's me, Chris. Leave a message." So people would start talking because they think I'd pick up. Yeah, anyway. So I got some fun messages where somebody's clearly thinking they're having a conversation with me.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some other conversations where the source for your story was just pissed and annoyed.
Yeah.
You can understand why they put the kibosh on that one.
Speaking of spelling, though, been watching a lot of Sesame Street around my house. Kendall's a big fan of the Sesame Street. The other day, though, we watched an episode in which there was a particularly accusatory song about who may or may not have taken the cookies from the cookie jar.
J'accuse.
And Kendall pointed right at my belly and went, "Dada." I thought fatherhood would be a lot of things. I did not think I would be implicated in these types of cookie crimes.
Yeah, that's certainly, on one hand, fat shaming, and on the other, you're accusing me of magic to that my cookie fandom knows no time or space.
It's also so clearly Cookie Monster.
Yeah, you are walking past the guy covered in blood to find the alternate murderer here.
Yeah, I don't want to make any assumptions. Well, what are you doing about me?
I'd say the only thing that she would be right about there is how much cookie is the Cookie Monster really eating? And I know you can go, he's a puppet, it doesn't work that way. Listen, puppet technology.
If you look really closely, almost none of it goes in the Almost none of
it. Going in the super slow motion. Just
yeah.
He's
Wait
not
a
eating
second.
shit.
He's just destroying them.
That's how he's been able to get away with that diet regimen for the last 50 years is, yeah, if he was doing that every day, he'd have been dead in the 80s.
I get why Oscar's such a grouch, dude. It's chaos on Sesame Street. There's always problems. I'd hate to be one of the adults on Sesame Street. You're always solving other people's problems, dude. Where's the peace and quiet? That's why there's been no gentrification in the place, for fuck's sakes.
Well, because you've got Oscar living in a can and you've got a vampire loudly counting and shit. And like, what neighborhood is this? And it seems like they live in a food desert too. Like there's just like a Chick-fil-A and a gas station or something. Like where's the actual grocery store?
It's also weird
because
you look in the background and you're like, this looks like it's near Brooklyn. Like, where is this supposed to be?
I like the idea of Brooklyn and the rest of New York, modernizing and aging in the last 50 years, but Sesame Street's still stuck in I like brownstone tenements from like the 70s.
Oh man, I just think somebody's selling houses in Brooklyn. They're like, there's a house we can show you, but it's on Sesame Street, and you're gonna have to solve some problems.
Yeah,
this comes with responsibilities.
So what, the animals talk? They don't just talk. They're employing you on various missions and tasks,
They can't figure out the tempo of the song.
Yeah, it's
You're
not just
do it for them.
Not just a matter of ignoring Snuffleupagus or anything like that. This is way larger.
Also, Big Bird's the worst. I didn't realize that. I watch it now. I'm like, shut up. Oh God, he's so annoying. But I am starting to like Oscar the Grouch more for sure.
Yeah, I mean he's basically the Stanley of.
It's kind of like the Squidward thing. Like when I was a kid watching SpongeBob, I'm like, Squidward's a jerk. Yeah. But now I'm like, I totally get it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He works at a fast food joint. Would you be thrilled every day?
Yeah, and aspires to fame as a jazz musician.
Yeah,
never attain it.
Erstwhile, you've got SpongeBob and his antics. Yeah, his hijinks. All right, we go into Tinderella.
Let's do it.
If you could if you could redo Prohibition with something other than alcohol, what would it be?
I would prohibit political bumper stickers. Don't care who they're supporting. They're all annoying.
What about like Darth Vader 2024? You don't even want the spoof ones?
I was going to say no bumper stickers, but those are the ones that make me want to keep them in, because every once in a while, I'm not a sticker on my car guy. I just get a sticker book Put it on your laptop like an adult. Don't put it on your car. What are you doing?
My cars aren't nice enough to begin with to begin basically defacing them. You know, I need to like do everything I can.
Yeah. So I just don't get bumper stickers, full stop. But every once in a while, I'm at a stoplight and I see something that I want to ignore. Like, I see it at first glance and it's like a Bernie Sanders bumper sticker or something. But then it ends up being something else entirely that makes me laugh. And then I'm like, okay, that's pretty good.
Like, there's multiple. They're one of the old, like, hatchbacks that's got, like, 30 stickers on. Right. Is that what you're saying?
Occasionally there's some that make me laugh. And I'm like, all right, this is why we shouldn't outlaw bumper stickers entirely. But the political ones always annoy me because I don't want to hear your opinion anyway. I super don't want to see it when I'm already pissed off in traffic.
I think that you're probably focusing a little more than you ought to. Like, it's not like you're having to hear it, like your radio station.
Okay, Cole, close your eyes. This is a bumper sticker I saw the other day. I'm just going to say it to you. But you can hear it, trust me. Raise lions, not sheep.
Yeah,
How does that not annoy you immediately?
Oh, sure, it's dumb.
We're not sheep. This whole group of us that are doing the same thing, we're not sheep.
But I think that by and large, a political bumper sticker is just some dude's name. So, you know, that one is a little bit more elevated. But when your example is, it says Bernie Sanders, it's like, yeah.
Oh, that wasn't really my whole... anything politically charged. Get it out of my face. I do not want to see this. There's a time and a place, and it's not when I'm already mad about being stuck in traffic.
Yeah, I don't have the passion for this argument at all, but I support you.
What would your...
Probably trickle-down economics. No, hold on, because this is a complicated question. Because on one hand, you know, are you allowing me to, like, prohibit the Black Plague? Or is this strictly something that, like, the laws of man could actually control?
Something we could theoretically control.
I would say salvia. That was, I think it's the most
12 seconds of your life.
The most akin to banning alcohol is like banning another drug. Mm-hmm. And that is the one drug that if it had a Rotten Tomato meter, it would be like a modern Adam Sandler film. It would be sitting at like 2% between Jack and Jill and what's another? Ballistic X versus Sever or some other like terrible movie.
It's Sandler in another wig.
It's you'll never guess who else is in it. Rob Schneider. How'd he know? But yeah, just from a strict, I mean, not that I've tried a whole bunch of drugs, but you know, even the ones I didn't like, it's like, I get it. That one, I don't think anybody's losing anything by prohibiting that either. You know, we lost some good times by prohibiting booze. Again, I don't think there's any loss there.
Yeah.
But that said, I think now it actually is illegal. Or I don't think you can... Yeah, there was one time I came home and my brother and dad were like, yeah, we got the 80X. They call it Horse Killer. I was like, did you enjoy it? No. Of course not.
Why did Prohibition even happen? The whole reason I even thought of this was I was watching the Packers documentary talking about their recruiting tactics during Prohibition. Basically, they were far enough away from Milwaukee, they'd be tipped off the feds were coming up. They could hide everything so the players could drink, which was a huge selling point. Also won us a couple championships. Yeah. Anyhow, why did Prohibition even... Who, where, what?
Cultural backlash. There were a few different organizations, and there had genuinely, in some cases, this is an era in the early 20th century where women trapped in abusive marriages have no way out, and their husbands are coming home lit up like Christmas trees and just beating everybody up in the house and being fucking crazy. There's a lot of other reasons that the person would do that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other problems involved than strictly drinking, but I do think that, you know, domestic violence in general, like vagrancy, charged a lot of these groups, particularly, you know, like groups of wives. But also, it was a worldwide thing. There were other nations that dabbled in prohibition around the same time. I cannot fucking remember who, but we were not the only ones that tried it.
I bet Utah never felt so united.
I'm worried that we've talked about this on an episode before, because this is episode 46, but the gin craze, which is a Wikipedia page as well, where in England, gin got real cheap for a while and was a lot better tasting than a lot of the other like swill that they had. I think this was like, I don't know, mid 1800s. Anyways, there was like 2 years where the country was just not functioning at a very high rate. Like the whole thing, like manufacturing has slowed down, like farming output's not as good because everyone is shit-faced. Now, the English did not prohibit booze. They were like, cost of doing business. Up the gin tax, we're not getting rid of it. But I do think that was the initial cause was,
Interesting. Well,
Brits
have one thing on us there, at least.
People back then didn't have sports to get their drunken rage out about, and they apparently took it out on their family. Well, or televised. It's like, well, once the game's over, at the there's no sports center.
Yeah. Now we just get drunk watching the game.
Oh, and all you have is baseball, and it's like dead ball era baseball.
Oh God.
Yeah, exactly. You're just hoping Honus Wagner slaps a double.
Singles.
Yeah.
Christ.
All right. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Shout, for sure. Whisper, I mumble kind of when I talk, so I already have an issue with people not hearing me. It ends up with me shouting, which is kind of a dick move. But after like the fourth time, somebody's like, "What'd you say?" I said noodles for dinner.
Yeah, I definitely am going whisper on this one.
Whisper, really. Shouting's way funnier. Out of context, especially.
Yeah, I don't need random people's attention, and I really don't need to interact with random people. And the more low-key that I can keep it...
Yeah, the more you shout, the more attention you're
exactly. And also, I look like I'm going to shout, It's like the old Brian Posehn looking like the guy who farted. I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. I don't want to be like a stereotype of myself as I walk around.
Right.
Even as I'm, eating terrible food or whatever cliche things I'm doing. But
I guess I look like I would shout too, but
hey, embrace it. What is the adult version of finding out that Santa Claus doesn't exist?
The first paycheck you get and you see how much you lost in taxes.
Who the fuck is FICA?
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill this guy.
I think that was it for me, especially because you don't even know how that money is applied. Like, you don't know what taxes are for. You're just like, who the fuck took my money?
Yeah, Social Security. It's like, listen, kid, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I got plenty of friends. I'm secure as hell.
I'm 16. I would probably say reading any amount of American history will undermine your...
We did what?
Yeah, exactly. September 11th means something different in different countries. We overthrew Allende in 73 on September 11th.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like, yeah, I know one country is pretty pumped.
Like people were clapping.
Yeah.
Different anniversary to different folks. Yeah. Not a particularly good answer, but yeah, the less like Howard Zinn and history books you read, probably the better off you'll do at the next NFL flyover or whatever, patriotic event that you're attending.
Okay, good answer.
How long do you wait before you honk at the person in front of you after the light turns green?
You get 3 Mississippis, and I'm honking on the third one.
I'm completely in alignment with you here. Yeah, I was going to say 3 seconds.
Nobody's reaction time is that slow. If it is, you shouldn't be driving. Or you're on your phone, and you're clearly not paying attention.
Yeah, that's 3 seconds, I think, is exactly the right amount of time for you to have actually seen it. And it's all, I know people... Phones aside, we'll just, you'll just stare off in the car for a second and be like, oh shit, I was looking at a bird.
How often do you get the finger when you honk, though?
Never really. Because,
really?
Yeah, I basically never do. I think because I'm in a white Ford Focus, they're not even sure it's me. Because it's like most of the places, in fairness, where I get pissed off enough to honk at somebody at a light, a lot of the time it's like I'm taking a left in Ballard on like Market and 15th to go to Ballard Bridge. It's like, we got 6 fucking seconds to get as many cars as possible. Or, you know, we're stuck at this light for another 3 minutes every time we mess this up.
Will you honk if you're not the second car?
For sure.
Like if you're the third or fourth car back?
I have to be able to see it, though.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, there's like a bend and you're like, I can't see if there's an obstruction. It's like, I have to see for sure that you're...
Right.
That you have the right of way and you're right of way and you're just not...
It's interesting you said you never get the finger. I get it at least 80% of the time. But I feel like people look in their mirror and they see me and I look like an asshole. Like, I would give me the finger if I was honking at me, too.
It's... But hey, you're in Lake Stevens. I'm doing this stuff, you know, maybe in Des Moines and in Ballard. I'm not sure.
You're saying I'm doing the Lord's work.
It's no, but yeah, completely agreed on that one. No notes.
Speaking of Lake Stevens, I've said more than once, Tom Thumb is the best thing that's ever happened to Lake Stevens. And while I still love Tom Thumb,
is it getting bumped down?
Holy fucking shit, did I find the coolest place in the world. Norm's has so much beer. It was like I turned around every corner and just like every corner, and there was like 20. I was just like,
they got shit they're not even supposed to have out here, like Yinglings. You can't get this shit west of Detroit.
I've never seen so much German beer at a place that wasn't like Bevmo or one of the big...
What's Norm's last name? Schwarzkopf? Was he in Argentina? What's the... So it's just called Norm's? There's
Norm's.
no...
It looks like just a shitty gas station. Like, I would never go in if I didn't know what was in there.
So it doesn't look as good from the outside as Tom Thumb does.
Which is also not great.
But superior.
Yeah, certainly. And Tom Thumb has Chinese food and, like, great snack selection. Tom Thumb has more stuff.
But Norm, strictly
the beer selection
beer
at Norm's is insane.
Now, location-wise, what's closer? Is Tom Thumb closer?
Tom Thumb. That's still the place for me. Yeah, I'm not going to go all the way around the lake to go to Norm's.
That's fair. But
unless I really need Peroni.
Peroni is pretty good.
Mm.
They don't make beers that crisp too often. Okay, where were we at?
I think was that the last Tinderella?
That was the last of the Tinderella. So you had a couple topics before we get into...
Yeah, I think that I wanted to talk about... you ever see somebody like walking down the street and they're not wearing glasses, but you know that they usually do? Like, do you feel like...
this is somebody you don't know.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like people who wear glasses look weird when they aren't wearing them?
See, I feel like I would make that confusion with just anybody that has small eyeballs. I'm just like,
yeah,
they need to be magnified.
That's kind of the... You are not goggle-eyed enough.
Yeah.
That is kind of my point. I feel like people who wear glasses, their eyes are so weirded out by I'm totally making up evolution here, by the way. This is not proven. This is a theory of mine.
Thank God that people aren't tuning into the show for that sort of guidance.
I think having something that close to your eyes makes your eyes go, whoa, and they kind of like...
They got to back up.
Yeah, they try to back up. And I feel like when you see somebody who normally wears glasses and they aren't, you're like, oh, look at that.
Well, I do think that your eyeballs are like the one part of your body that your brain doesn't actually interpret as part of your body. Like there's a part of your brain that has to tell another part of your brain, don't eat these. These are eyeballs. We see with these. But yeah, there's one part of your brain that's just like, what the fuck is this? What are these floating bodies? You know, it's just like not, yeah. So I'm not sure how that completely connects to the eyes backing up, but I feel like it's connected there.
You're saying the eyes have kind of a mind of their own?
A little bit. Now, on this topic, did you ever, when you were a kid, watch like the Guinness World Record TV show on Fox, and they'd have people, and I'm not sure what the record was, but they just have people using, like, there's a way that you can kind of use pressure in your head to bulge your eyeballs out like a maniac.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And so, yeah, world record of eye bulging, I guess.
Eye bulging. How do you measure that? Circumference?
I think you are literally measuring like the whites from.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I'm not a scientist.
I did see a thing on TV when I was like 8, where this person would shoot water out of their like eye.
Oh
socket,
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, or milk. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if I could do that. Turns out I can. So I freaked out all my friends. Like, you just suck up a little in your nose, and then you plug your nose, and you try to blow it out, and it comes out your eye. It's a very weird thing to do. Good way to freak people out.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, too, that they actually had a record for that. It was the furthest that you could,
of course,
you could shoot milk out of your eye, and I think they chose milk because you could get, there's a little more.
It's funny, you're right, and I remember now after you saying that was that show, and the next thing they went from that to the furthest gleek.
Oh my god! See, that's some. You know how gross you have to be to follow up the eyeball guy, and for me to go, that's disgusting. Quit doing that in public. Although they also had, and I swear they had this guy on more than anybody for some fucking reason, Longest Fingernail Man, who.
It's usually a woman who does that.
No, this guy had the record for decades.
Really?
Yes, it's disgusting. These things were like 3 feet long. They're all like curled and weird and shit at the end. He had to like change his sleeping position multiple times a night because, like, I don't know, your arm gets sore when your nails are that long. That's one of those, I understand the appeal of being the best at something. I really do.
Was that the guy in India who was Baba of some kind?
I have no idea. All I know is that he was certainly of East Asian descent somewhere, Southeast Asian, but I don't think this was a man of any nobility. I don't think he had any dignity
Why
whatsoever.
do you say that? Just because his nails are so long?
I think that if you have a royal title, you don't have to do wackadoo shit like that to get on TV. You can just be Prince Harry and be like, I don't want to be famous anymore, and then have a fucking podcast anyway. You can do fucking annoying shit like that instead of be the gross fingernail guy.
Reminds me of the episode of An Idiot Abroad where Carl goes to India and he meets a Baba who has his hand in the air and has for like 20 years. It's just always, he's holding it up, but he's got crazy long fingernails. My favorite thing about the whole thing is he's like, it's got to be annoying to have him around the house. His wife has to do all the washing up. Like, oh, can you help me clean the dishes? No, I can't.
That's also,
my arm's in the air.
Anytime somebody's like, yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years, I'm always just, no, you haven't. Right. No, you haven't.
I don't know. It looked like his body had like morphed to keep it.
I'm sure he's doing it way too many hours a day. Right. I'm sure he's doing it way more than he should.
Yeah, why that? Why pick your arm?
See, again, this is, it's like I got nothing else. I'm going through the Guinness book, and I'm not seeing this
Just
one.
like
I'm not
stop
seeing
eating
it.
beef or something. Why does it have to be?
You were talking about Indian people. They've already killed that shit.
Yeah, they love cows. Yeah, they love cows over there.
They're a heavily vegetarian nation. So, but yeah, that's. Anyways, we don't need to keep talking about the Guinness World Record
we
show.
Don't know that
but I will say, the Guinness World Record show, so much gross stuff. Where's the guy like jumping something on a motorcycle? Why is it all like body horror?
Yeah, why are you eating watches?
That was another thing, fucking sword swallowers, which I guess that's not as outright gross, just weird. But
how do you even practice that? Just a rod?
With risk.
With risk, yeah.
Chris, you had a question in here before we move to our sort of end of episode segments. Was it always sunny in the 60s through the 80s?
Yeah. Every time I see footage from the 60s, 70s, or 80s, it's fucking nice as hell.
Do you think there was
It's never raining. It is never raining. When I see any of that footage, everybody's having a good time. It's summer. Do
you think newscasters back then...
I'm just saying, is global warming even real? Maybe it's going the other way. Maybe it's global cooling, dude. Global raining.
Based off of...
Pretty sure it was always sunny then.
Based off of exclusively archival footage from news stations. That is funny, though, because it makes me wonder, okay, you didn't have the same 24-hour news cycle in, like, the 60s. You're filming, like, an hour a day. Or you're getting an hour worth of content. Maybe when it was shitty outside, they were just like, let's fucking wait.
Don't need to record this.
Yeah, that's fine. Let it ride. Cronkite's not on TV at from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. or something. He's in and out in 45 minutes.
Why do all of these have Creedence Clearwater Revival over the top of them?
Yeah, what's the number one Vietnam War movie song? Because I think it's Fortunate Son. Yeah, Fortunate Son has to be. And I'm not saying Vietnam song. I'm saying Vietnam movie song.
Yeah.
I can't speak to what the actual GIs were listening to, but I know what Forrest Gump movies have.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Creedence.
I don't know what music was
I think
popular
all
in
along
Vietnam
All Along the Watchtower by Hendrix is another.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely know that Vietnam's not going well at that point when you hear Jimmy get on.
Another one I can't even think of. Damn it. We'll make a playlist, put it on Spotify. If you're trying to relive the good old days of the Vietnam War. Some tunes.
The halcyon days of...
Wasn't that also a crazy long war?
Well, we were over there realistically for 20 years, from the mid-50s when it was still like French Indochina. But the technical sort of years of the war, it's more like 64 to 75.
Even still, again, I didn't pay attention in history, right? But in my head, which means nothing at all, I was like, a couple years, 2-3 years.
In fairness, I will say, American troop withdrawal largely happened. There was sort of a cessation of American troop involvement starting in like 71. But there were still some over there, just like the active military engagement basically ended by 71.
I have to mention this because we're probably never going to talk about the Vietnam War on here again.
I don't know.
We're getting more political. You tell me if there's a Vietnam bumper sticker, and we're going to have to talk about it. There is a movie called The Greatest Beer Run Ever. It's a true story about a guy who lived in New York. It's played by Zac Efron. Ladies and fellas. Who doesn't like him? Am I right? Am I right? Anyway, this guy's basically just a piece of shit. His thing is drinking with his buddies, but all of his buddies end up having to go to Vietnam. And so he's sitting there at the bar alone, and him and like all the old folks are like, God, I wish we could just buy the boys a beer. And he's like, I'll do it. And so he fills up a duffel bag full of PBR. Unfortunately, I wish he could have taken the boys something better. He goes to Vietnam, and he goes to all these military bases. They think he's a spy. Not a spy. Part of the CIA.
I'm wondering how he introduced himself. Do you boys want American lager? And they're like, who won the World Series last year? Like, pop quiz.
Anyway, he ends up delivering beer to his friends and accidentally serving in the Vietnam War, and then just comes home. So it's a great movie. It's incredible. Incredible story.
So I do have one immediate question, which is like, was this guy sad he wasn't in Vietnam? Was that sort of the crux of his...
He didn't understand what was happening until he got there. Then he has a big oh shit moment.
Okay. That's pretty good.
It's pretty funny.
All right. Chris, Gucci or Greasy, fountain drinks? I'm just going to lead by saying I think it depends on my capacity for theft. If the fountain drink is out of view then it's Gucci.
I've always said the average person is given too many choices. And with that many options, there's too much horror that can happen in a cup. My thing when I was a little kid, I was like a little bit of
the graveyard,
a little bit of Dr. Pepper, a little bit of Sprite, mixing shit together that has no business going together.
Yeah, like if you throw a little orange soda into a Sprite or something, it's like, okay, you mixed two things. Sprite's mostly just like a soda base.
Wait until you mix 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's bad news bears. Also, it doesn't taste like the actual... It never tastes like actual
Well, yeah,
Coke,
they have the different... yeah, because it's got the syrup blend.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, you never...
Have you ever gotten a Sprite, like, at the end of the bag? Like, you didn't get much of the syrup? It's just like,
oh, yeah, yeah.
What water are you guys using? Is this even clean? Yeah, so I think the key here is Gucci or Greasy fountain drinks with no ice.
I think that's Greasy overall, but I have to say that is heavily colored by the fact that like 80% of my fountain drinks, just as a recovering diabetic, my fountain drink consumption is basically limited to when I get a hot dog at Costco.
Mm.
And I feel like, similar to the 60s through the 80s, every time I'm at Costco, it's 100 fucking degrees. I haven't been there when it's been raining in 20 years. So on that basis, I'm always like, give me the ice. But, could there be a universe where I'm also always drinking the Mountain Dew?
Oh, God. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I haven't had a Mountain Dew in at least 20 years. They scare the shit out of me.
Did you ever hear about Caron Butler's Mountain Dew addiction?
No.
Yeah, he was
from Wisconsin.
He was drinking like 12 a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, at one point, I think he only played one season with Kolpy, and I'm 99% sure it was Caron Butler. But he said that Kolpy said something to him, because you couldn't really get anything past Kolpy. He's like, "You're in great shape, but you are huffing and puffing harder than you should." He's like, "What are you putting into your body?" He immediately starts asking him about his diet, and Caron Butler's like, "Shit, he's going to find out about the Mountain Dew."
Oh my God.
And then he comes clean, and Kobe's, of course, like, "You can't put that in your body. That's the fuel for your well-oiled machine."
I wouldn't, yeah, fuck. It's probably more likely to be fuel for an automobile. That shit is nuclear.
Yeah, fuel for somebody accidentally discharging a firearm in their trailer.
Whoops-a-daisy. Oh, that
Safety
reminds me.
Always off.
Yeah, nice. That reminds me of one of the sadder stories I heard when I was in my EMT class. We'll do it anyway. Yeah, we may end up cutting it. But this guy did not know he was diabetic. He was chugging Mountain Dews. And when you get diabetic ketoacidosis, as you know, you get very hot and very thirsty.
Yeah.
So he's like, fuck, I better get some more dew.
Oh, jeez.
So his blood sugar is just going through the fucking roof. Anyway, guy literally died from a Mountain Dew overdose.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Get your blood sugar over a nice 4-digit number.
Blood sugar's 1,000,000.
Okay, let's, we doing headlines now?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get to Wikipedia today, so we can do headlines. Our education segment. Make sure all the listeners are educated. That's always going to be a fun bit. All right. Man arrested for using fake ID to bond friend out of jail who was arrested for using fake IDs.
I think, given how close we had to like a presidential assassination just this week, that I would totally try to get away with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
my logic would be they're not going to catch it twice.
Yeah. Yeah, they say the average home invader, home burglar gets away with like 87 robberies before they're... What's the chance of two in a row? What's the chance of 2 in a row? It's literally about 1 fucking %.
Right.
So
I like to think it was the same ID.
They just caught him because it wasn't him. It was that guy's ID. Jesus Christ, Bill. This doesn't even say your name.
Pretty sure you're not 81 either.
Since we're talking fake IDs, when you were in high school, did anybody have a fake ID?
Probably. I was a goody two-shoes in high school, though. I would not know.
I never myself had one, but we definitely tried a few. My buddy Rafi, when we were at journalism camp in Ellensburg, yeah, that doesn't get the ladies in a tizzy. We went to, what was the name of it? I want to say it was
Town
Bucks.
Oh.
Well, no, it was just some corner mart there, but tried to buy beer, and Rafi's fake ID was so bad. It's like the laminated around the outside almost, where you could just tell it's like,
yeah.
Guy just goes, "This thing's faker than a $3 bill."
Here's your beer.
Anyways, yeah. Now then a couple times friends of mine got caught for, they pop quiz you. What's your address? No shit.
Yeah.
But eventually you find a place that'll always sell you the beer. Like the shout out to the Midnight Mart in Lower Queen Anne. If this show ever takes off, that place is fucked.
Eventually there's somebody who is too underpaid to care enough.
When we were 16, we bought 2 flats of juice, which was the predecessor to Four Loko.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and we played juice pong, which if you're 16, that is gonna get you severely trashed.
God damn.
Yeah.
You remember your first loco? I guess your first juice.
Yeah, I
What
definitely
were you doing?
do.
What was that day like?
I don't know. So the first juice, because, the first one I only had like one. I'll tell you the second time, which is when I drank 4.
Oh, no.
And just woke up throwing up on co-elementary. Yeah, of course.
Oh, God.
Inevitably.
So much sugar with so much alcohol.
It's so much bad alcohol. That malt liquor, it's like Steel Reserve quality. Which, again, just a reminder, even in the most affluent corners of American suburbia, like Queen Anne, you can find a crumpled up juice. You can find a crumpled up Steel Reserve. It's like I'm like the worst kind of Johnny Appleseed.
Next headline.
Yep.
Shirts with printed on sweat stains are being sold for $350. People are selling shirts that look like they've been sweating. I sweat through every fucking shirt I've ever owned, and now it's a fucking fashion statement.
Dude,
You know how annoying that
$350
is?
shirt, man.
Yeah, I can make that for you. Give me a $10 shirt. Give me 5 minutes.
This is like when that artist taped a banana to a wall. At some point, you just have to test the human capacity for raw consumption and just see if they'll just buy whatever fucking shit.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, I myself spent $50 on gag cologne that smells like WD-40. So
Good investment.
allow me to get off my high horse real quick.
I like that because that's just a funny enough idea that you deserve my money. I guess this annoys me because it's a little personal. I'm a sweaty guy, and I don't like people like me being taken advantage of.
Well, usually the folks that are buying $350 shirts, look prettier than me. So I do feel mocked. I do feel targeted.
Yeah, they're definitely sweating less, I think.
Yeah, because, I mean, again, if there's a massive rich guy, he still doesn't need to buy a shirt that looks like that. He'll just be living that dream.
Yeah.
It's not going to, you watch old interviews with Biggie. He's sweating because he's just living. It's a lot to just exist when you're a man of that size.
All right, this one a little disturbing. Steve Jobs was known to stick his feet inside public toilets as his go-to stress reliever.
Well, so toilets. Okay, that implies there's something.
It was the
special
public
about
toilets at Apple.
Okay, so is this like a military prove you can eat off the floor kind of thing, where he's like, our bathrooms are so clean?
So it said,
I'll put my feet in them.
according to his authorized biography by Walter Isaacson, the late Steve Jobs would occasionally bathe his feet in the toilet water of Apple restrooms to de-stress. This unusual habit was linked to his fascination with alternative health practices, lack thereof, I would say, as explained by the YouTube channel Apple Explained. After dropping out of Reed College in the 1970s, Jobs embarked on a journey of spiritual exploration. He examined... Anyway.
Yeah, alternative health theories is one thing.
It doesn't seem healthy to me.
That practice is the opposite of healthy. That
Right.
is how you get...
If your feet could get pink eye.
Pink eye's the lead. You're going to get fucking cholera or something, dude. You're going to get dysentery. You're going to be fucking clinging to the toilet so you don't blast off of it later.
I've been trying to make sense of this, and the only thing I could think of was, you know how like public toilets are just a little stronger? You never know who's going to shit there. You never know how much suckage you're going to need.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You get a real... Maybe it felt nice on your toesies. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think, man. It sounds insane. I can't really make any sense of it other than that.
Pretty wild that the alternative theory in which, the more understandable thing is getting your toes sucked off by a toilet. Like, that's the...
It's just
that's
Quentin
the
Tarantino
better...
down there. All right, last one. Florida man faces felony charges after trying to withdraw 1 cent from the bank.
Okay, so I wish this is a rare instance where it's like I wish the viewers could see the image of this man. Because at best, he's the local eccentric.
Yeah.
And at worst, he's a threat to others and himself.
Yeah.
And just reading through because you're like, what's the crime there? You know he did something else, and of course you start to read.
That's just what they can nab him on.
But see, that's weird. What he actually went to jail for was saying something threatening to the teller. Me ordering a McDouble and then telling them I'm going to burn the store down. I didn't get arrested for the McDouble order. It was the arson. This is just a weirdly misleading headline.
Well, I read a longer article about it, and basically he tried to take out a cent, and they said no, like it has to be at least
$10 or whatever,
certain amount. And he's like, I just want a penny, and they're like, we can't do that. And then he's like, it's my fucking money, started freaking out. Which, he went in there for a fight, I think. He went in there to start some shit. He's like, I bet they won't let me take one out. I'm going to get one. I'm going to get 1 penny.
You're either trying to start some shit, or maybe you think it's just funny, but it's definitely like a lark. It's not, you don't seriously need the penny, right?
Yeah, he went in there as a bit, and then they really wouldn't give it to him, and it pissed him off. You know what's weird? I feel like you can walk like a couple blocks on a city street, find a penny. No problem.
Yeah, I mean,
but how?
We're in the U district.
Nobody's using coins anymore.
That's the thing.
Nobody uses cash.
When somebody asks me for change, luckily here it's like, well, I'm going into the 7-Eleven. I can actually get $1, but like I genuinely don't have change anymore. Right. This isn't some whoops, let me pretend to look in my pocket. Sir, I have not carried cash in 14 years. All right, should we move on to, I think we've got like 10 minutes or so. Oh, we got 15. All right.
I think we can just move on to
history?
Yeah.
All right. July 13th, 1793. Journalist and French revolutionary Jean-Paul Marat is assassinated in his bathtub by Charlotte Corday, a member of the opposing political faction. Where's the most embarrassing place to die?
Bathtub's pretty good. Bathroom in general, like Elvis on the can, woof.
That's a bad one. Yeah.
That is tough.
Especially when you're the king, like me dying on the toilet.
King died on the throne, baby.
It's But see, is dying on your toilet worse than dying in like Subway? Because I feel like Subway is more embarrassing in some ways.
Yeah, I mean,
and that also means that's your last meal.
My answer is autoerotic asphyxiation every single time.
True. Yeah, fair.
I genuinely.
They're gonna know I cranked it.
I genuinely have a fear of dying. Enough so that as I'm like kind of done, I'm like, get the fuck, like get off the screen. I don't want him to know. He's covered in some weird fluid. He couldn't have been jacking off though. He's just got Facebook on his phone.
You don't even know how good I am at jerking off. I'm jerking off to basically nothing out here. Give me a fucking Vogue. I'm out in 5 minutes.
It's a funny enough post. I can finish that.
No, I think bathroom in general is tough. And then for me,
Subway's
particularly
good. Is that even the most
embarrassing
Sizzler?
Yeah, I mean,
no, you kind of expect it.
Well, here's the thing: is I could say like Arby's, but I'm not eating
Corral.
that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, am I going to CC's Pizza? No, but there are times where I eat Subway, and I don't want anyone to know
it would
that.
Be an upscale restaurant, like Daniel's Broiler or something.
Well, that would be. I wouldn't feel too embarrassed by that. That's just steak doing what it does best, killing.
I hope you got the steak first.
Yeah, right.
Hope you were at least done. God, dying after the appetizer, brutal.
Yeah, you don't want to. You got to get through the tartare, and you got to get to the steak. You got to get through the tableside Caesar. All right, July 13th, 1956. The Dartmouth Workshop is the first conference on artificial intelligence. Almost 70 years ago. Have you used ChatGPT or AI for anything?
Not that I'm willing to admit.
Just litany of face swap pornography.
Yeah. I wonder what my boss looks like naked. I didn't think she'd be that hairy.
It's like you knowing both of the things you combined and still expressing surprise. Oh, that's What is your go-to Adriana Chechik? It's like just looks exactly like her. Well, I didn't expect this. Yeah. You uploaded the JPEGs. How quickly my horniness made me forget that I was a participant in this. I have not used it for anything. Right now, it just seems like a lying plagiarism machine. But I hope that at some point... Right. I hope at some point it's more useful than that. I mostly just wanted to ask that question because I was shocked there was a conference on it in 56.
Right. Good point.
All right. We've got more July 13th. It was a big day, at least for questions that work for this podcast. July 13th, 1973, Watergate scandal.
Oh.
Alexander Butterfield reveals the existence of a secret Oval Office taping system to investigators for the Senate Watergate Committee. Where would you most want a secret taping system? And is the answer the Packers front office?
It's probably the Cardinals front office. We can figure out how to draft people before you guys do.
Well, you see our pitching staff lately? Come on.
Yeah. Can't use it for horniness stuff. I already did that on the last question.
Plus, this is strictly audio. You know, not to say that wouldn't be.
You can do plenty with audio, Cole. Do plenty with audio, Cole. Yeah, maybe I'd like to know what the fuck's going on in our front office. That would be nice. I don't think I have anything better than that, actually. You might have nailed it. What about you?
I want to bug Dana White's office so that I can get him to... He's going to say something racist, and I can finally get him to lose his job. Yeah, again, that's not even very funny. It's just exactly what I want to do. Okay. July 13th, 1985. Vice President George H.W. Bush becomes the acting president for the day when President Ronald Reagan undergoes surgery to remove polyps from his colon. What's the worst reason you ever missed a day of work?
Couldn't be bothered.
That's a great reason.
No. Yeah, but I've had a lot of those where I just wake up and I'm like, no, not doing this today.
Yeah.
I'm doing something else.
Yeah, there was one day, and I was already kind of contemplating calling in. And then I found out that Briar Grocery, the little store that we lived nearby at the time, had sold the winning lottery ticket, and no one had claimed it. And I also knew I had bought a lottery ticket from there and thought I threw it away. So I was like, you know what? I'm calling in sick.
I'm looking through the garbage.
I'm going through some recycling. It turns out I did not win the lottery.
Oh, that is great. That's a great reason.
Ultimately, no regrets, because I still got to not go to work. So
right.
That's at least a W there.
I've definitely called out hungover before.
Yeah, and I mean, just like not being bothered, to me, that's a perfectly good reason.
Decided I was going to go to a baseball game. Another one.
That's
kind
pretty
of the
good.
Same thing.
That one is way more fun, but a little bit higher on the negligence scale. I do like that one. That's all right. Now we're going July 17th, 1902. Willis Carrier creates the first air conditioner in Buffalo, New York. How are you guys handling the summer heat? Do you have AC?
Oh, we're not handling it.
We're approaching death.
Yeah, in fact, I had somebody ask me, like a neighbor, ask me why I never wear a shirt, and like, don't you want to cover up? Which was the weirdest way I've ever been fat shamed before. I'm like, no, I'm also fine. Stop looking in my house.
If you're telling me that you want me to wear a shirt, you can just say the sentence.
Yeah.
I'm still going to tell you no, but at least the conversation will move quicker.
So clothes are minimal. We have those little like AC units, but basically it's just like our room. We can get it to like 68.
That's pretty good.
Which is good. But the rest of the house is like 85.
Yeah, it's not doing
Yeah, it is really bad. So I'm able to sleep at night, but yeah, the rest of the day I'm just sweating like crazy.
Yeah, our house is just the same temperature it is outside.
Oh,
so when it's 92 outside, it is 91 in my house.
I guess that's better because our house is always hotter than it is outside, no matter what. I don't even know how our house is always hotter inside than it is outside, but it's just a microwave in there. It's terrible.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so
yeah,
we're both...
I've been out on my deck in my underwear a lot, so I get why the neighbors have questions.
Right.
But
as long as you
off.
don't say anything while you're like that, like, hey, nice kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep the dialogue to a minimum.
I notice your kid has the same outfit as me.
It's... All right, last one. July 17th, 1984, the national drinking age in the United States is changed from 18 to 21. When did you first truly get drunk? Not first time you drank a beer or part of a beer.
So this is kind of an exotic story.
Oh,
I was a major nerd in high school. Major.
when you say exotic, I'm thinking we're going to Wisconsin.
Dominican Republic, actually. I never drank. I swore it off. The dare people really got through to me. I was like, fuck that. And one time, this is embarrassing. Sorry. Wife is calling. This is embarrassing. But my brother was having a party at the house. My parents were out of town, and I was supposed to be out of town as well, but my girlfriend's grandfather died, and so we had to like come back and then catch a plane and go to a funeral. Anyway, so I come home. My brother's having an awesome party, like a rager. We had a pool, so like there was a ton of people there. It was just like a great party. And I was like, Richard, there's underage drinking. It's midnight. I'm trying to go to sleep. If this carries on, I'm going to call the police. Just totally threatening to narc on my brother. It's just the nerdiest shit I've ever done in my life. I'm so embarrassed by it still. So anyway, I didn't touch anything. But then, when I turned 18, for the summer, for a couple of weeks, we were going to go to the Dominican Republic, like an all-inclusive resort. And the drinking age in the Dominican Republic is 18. Actually, it might be lower than that. But either way, I was like, okay, well, I'm legal to drink here. So I had a lot of like the grossest like pina coladas, like dirty bananas, just the grossest shit you could get fucked up on, and I got fucked up. But it was like a poolside bar, and I didn't really realize I was drunk until my dad confronted me. He's like, "What are you doing over there?" I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like playing with the glass in the pool and like sometimes just going under for like 30 seconds, pretending to be an airplane underwater. This is my first time fucked up, and I'm too young for this. I guess older than most people actually, but so yeah, first time I got fucked up was in the Dominican Republic in like 100-degree weather, and I pretended to be an airplane.
Sounds like a nice time.
It was a good time. It was a good time. I was also the only person who somehow didn't drink the water there and like have crazy diarrhea.
That is very silly. It's not that fucking hard, guys.
Yeah. Everybody did it accidentally, like brushing their teeth or like.
See, I think if you get it from brushing your teeth, you're just soft. I think that I brushed my teeth down there. You need to get at least like 2 ounces of water in the system, or that's good for your immune system.
One of the kids from our trip was literally sick for 2 years. 2 years. He got some bug there and could not kick it for 2 years. He lost like a ton of weight. Sounds awesome. I take that.
Like the softest man of all time.
Nerd.
My God, I go by the name Kolpy, and I'm calling this guy soft.
What about you? When was the first time you got drunk?
I was 16, and I, for whatever reason, had got it into my head that the proper thing to drink, or a cool thing to drink, was Jägermeister.
Oh, fuck.
So I exclusively, not even just the first time, like the first 8 or 9 times I got drunk, I just got Jaeger. Because there was one kid in school that could actually get liquor from the liquor store. It's like, fifth of Jaeger.
They look like me.
Because
that was me. As much as I was not okay with minors drinking, I would buy, like when I was a freshman, sophomore, I was buying liquor for the seniors because they didn't fucking question me when I went in there.
Yeah. Yeah,
that or they were like, this kid clearly fucking needs it. Jesus Christ, look at that hairline.
Yeah, don't even ask him. Just let him take it.
Jaeger, though, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what that was. You know, when you're Mike Finch's kid, it's like you're going to buy... I remember the first time I got drunk off beer was Heineken, even though a kid doesn't know the difference. Like, well, that's what Mike drinks. You know, I'm going to...
so skunky.
Yeah, it is. Well, they've got the green bottles, and so...
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Man, Jägermeister is one of 2 drinks as you know, I really don't care what people think about me, generally. But I can think of 2 times where I was like, well, I'm going to drink this because it's, like, cool. I thought wild turkey was a cool thing to just drink. So I'd have a glass of fucking wild turkey. Just the grossest.
Is that like 3 vertical fingers of wild turkey?
It would be. It would. No, we're going up to my like a fist of
man.
it, like a whole glass. And yeah, Jaeger. I don't know why. I was like, cool bottle. Like, they got flags in all the bars I go to. Like, clearly it's good shit, man. I just got to learn to like it. I didn't like beer at first.
Weird German borderline Nazi iconography. What are these guys drinking?
Just make it orange and green.
We'll put
change the black and the red to orange and green, and we're good.
We'll have like an upside down cross on a deer. What does that fucking mean?
It's a little aggressive.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I guess that's enough for the stupidity today, eh?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a fun episode.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for, well, I don't want to call him Hot Alex. We got to give him another. He has to have his own thing.
We'll come up with it, next week. Or I should say week after. But yeah, next episode we'll have something appropriate.
All right. Well, Alex, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for taking over the reins for Hot Jake, wherever he may be.
Who's dead to me. Yeah, anyway, Jordan, love you all. Bucks and 6.
Woo.